Welcome back. Next, we're going to go through our financial statement ratios. There are 4 types of ratios we're going to look at, and we'll do a separate video for each of them just so these don't get too long. The first ones we're going to look at are our liquidity ratios, and there are 4 of them. So I'm going to go to my ratios worksheet, and I will put a copy of this within the assignment for the financial statement analysis within your group project. Okay, so the first 4 ratios we're going to do are current ratio, acid test, AR turnover, and DSO. And these are referred to as our liquidity ratios because they tell us how liquid is, I won't say it like that. I won't use a word to define a word. They tell us how likely is it that we are going to be able to pay our bills in the next year and kind of like how quickly do we have cash coming in the door. Okay, so I'm going to have to pull numbers from the income statement and the balance sheet in order to calculate these ratios. So the first is our current ratio, and the current ratio is current assets divided by current liabilities. So first, I'm going to go find my current assets. You know what? Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this ratio worksheet and I'm going to paste it into my workbook where I have all of my financial statements that I'm analyzing because that's going to make it easier for me to link things. So I'm just going to go up here to the upper left-hand corner and click that so it highlights the entire sheet, and I'm going to right-click and say copy. Then I'm going to go into my worksheet where I have my financial statements, and all the way down here at the bottom, there's a little plus sign that's going to give me a new sheet. So I'm going to click that and get a new sheet. Then I'm going to go to cell A1, right click, and paste. And it's going to put my ratios worksheet right there. I'm going to go down where it says sheet 6, and I'm going to right click, rename, and I'm just going to type in ratios. Okay. So now I have my ratios. Before I do anything, I'm just going to make sure this is formatted to print correctly. So I'm going to do File, Print, Page Setup, and Fit to one page. There. Now I'll have all my ratios on one page, nice and easy. You can see, I'm going to escape out of here. I've also put up in the upper left-hand corner Oracle Corporation and the year-end date. You're going to want to replace that with the name of your company and their year-end. All right, so let's start with the current ratio. Current assets divided by current liabilities. So I'm going to link current assets to my balance sheet. So I'm going to type in plus, and then I'm going to go over to my balance sheet, and I'm going to find my current assets, and my current assets are right here in cell B8. So I'll highlight B8, and it's going to bring the number right over for me. My current liabilities are also on my balance sheet. So I'm going to go to my balance sheet, and my current liabilities are right here in B23. So I'll highlight that, hit enter, and there's my current liabilities. We are only doing this for the most recent year, so you don't have to do a 2-year comparison on this. All right, so my current ratios is my current assets divided by current liabilities. So I do plus C5 divided by C6, and I get a current ratio of 2.4985. If I want, I can just make this smaller. Okay, so 2.49. That means I am going to be able to, or I have enough current assets that I could pay my current liabilities almost 2.5 times. So that's pretty good. Okay, the next is my acid test. My acid test is similar to my current ratio, except that it excludes from the numerator inventory and prepaid assets, because those are not quite as liquid as our cash, short-term investments, and trade receivables. So this is looking at, do I have enough current assets that are either already cash or can be turned into cash very quickly to pay off my current liabilities? So we're going to see. I'm going to start with getting my cash balance from my balance sheet. and my short-term investments. Short-term investments are often also called marketable securities. And in fact, that's what Oracle calls them, marketable securities. That's the same thing as short-term investments. And trade receivables, these are sometimes called accounts receivable. These are sometimes called current receivables. And for Oracle, it's 5134. Okay, my current liabilities, I already have from the current ratio, so I'm just going to bring that number down. And then I'll put in my formula, plus, I'm going to put parentheses, cash plus short-term investments plus trade receivables, and parentheses, divided by current liabilities. And that tells me that my acid test, Oracle has enough really current assets, highly liquid assets, to pay our current liabilities 2.31 times. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. When these numbers start to get below 1, that's when I start to get a little nervous. Although I looked at Amazon once and their acid test was below 1, and I don't think Amazon's going out of business anytime soon. You have that on recording now. If they do, you can haunt me with it. All right, let's look at our AR turnover. The next two ratios are really telling us how quickly are we collecting cash. Yeah, we might be going out and selling like crazy, right? We may have a ton of revenue, but how quickly are we actually collecting the cash? So our AR turnover is net sales divided by average accounts receivable. So the first thing I need to get is net sales. And I know that comes from my income statement. So I'm going to go to my income statement. And I don't have anything that says net sales, but I do have total revenues. So net sales could be total sales, could be total revenues. You have to look at your own income statement to figure out which one it is. And if you have any questions, come and ask me. So I'm going to highlight total revenues. And then I need my accounts receivable at the beginning of the year. So the balance at the end of last year is the balance at the beginning of this year. So I'm going to go to my balance sheet and get my receivables balance from last year. And then I'm going to go get my receivables balance from this year. Okay, so my formula is net sales plus net sales divided by, I'm going to put parentheses, I'm going to put two parentheses, I'm going to put beginning accounts receivable plus ending accounts receivable, parentheses, divided by divided by 2, and I'll put another parentheses. All right, so our AR turnover is 7.69. That means that on average, we are turning over our AR, or like collecting everything that's in there and starting over 7.6 times a year. Is that good or bad? You know, you have to compare it to the industry. None of these things stand alone are good or bad. You have to see what are your competitors doing. How did it look last year, 2 years ago? Is this number getting bigger, smaller? You can't judge it standalone. All right, so now we're going to go on to our DSO. Our DSO is going to be accounts receivable divided by net sales divided by 360. I use 360 because a lot of times in accounting we use a 360-day year, so that you have 12 even 30-day periods. But you could also use 365. I've seen people do it both ways. So if you go into a job and they have you use 365, don't yell and say, hey, no, my accounting teacher said it was 360. I've seen people do it both ways. We're going to use 360. So first we need our accounts receivable balance. So I'm going to get that from our balance sheet. Oh, we actually already have it up here. So 5134. And our total sales, which we have up here as well, 39,506. So I'm going to say plus accounts receivable divided by net sales divided by 360. And this tells me, on average, I am it's taking me 46.78 days to collect my accounts receivable. So again, is that good or bad? I don't know. If Oracle's terms are 30 days, that's actually probably not terrible because you're always going to have customers who pay slow. But the thing you really want to look at is what was it last year? What was it the year before? If this number is getting bigger, that's not a good sign. If this number is getting smaller, then that is a good sign. Okay, those are our 4 liquidity ratios. And next we will talk about our solvency ratios. So I will see you then.